Now my great pleasure to introduce the Vice President of Administration, Gildi Carty, who will present a brief history of the Rotary Club of Adelaide. Thanks, Gildi.
Ninamani, Your Excellency, dignitaries, fellow Rotarians and friends, please keep eating. I speak to you today on Kaurna land and I acknowledge our honour to walk and live alongside Aboriginal people. Firstly, it would not be possible for me to talk to you about the history of the Rotary Club of Adelaide without acknowledging the work of Zin Tang, Reg Hutchinson, Tom Maxwell, David Egan and the late Colin Bridson, and I thank them for bringing our history to life on the pages of our history books. In Rotary terms, I'm a fairly new Rotarian of only 4 years, and I look back at our history and pay thanks to those that have gone before me and paved a path for me to follow. The vision for Rotary started with our founder, Paul Harris, in 1905 in Chicago. 16 years later, leaders in our community formed Rotary clubs across Australia in Melbourne, Sydney, Brisbane and Newcastle. That vision was brought to South Australia in 1923 by members of the Rotary Club of Melbourne, who brought together leading South Australian citizens at the Grand Central Hotel on the corner of Pulteney and Rundle Streets. At that inaugural meeting on the 24th of August 1923, they passed a unanimous motion to form the Rotary Club of Adelaide. It does pay not to be an apology, as in his absence, George McEwen was voted in as the inaugural Charter President. But as leaders tend to do, he accepted the challenge, and under his leadership, the Rotary Club of Adelaide was officially chartered on the 24th of February 1924. We owe our thanks to those charter members who grasped the vision of Rotary and made it work for all of us. For many Rotarians, George McEwen is seen as the father of Rotary in South Australia. In his first year, he created Christmas parties for children in need, made our first international donation to Japanese earthquake victims, and started our lunchtime speaker program. Rotary Adelaide continues to be known for its lunchtime speaker program and has been honoured over the years with many notable speakers. Our very first guest speaker was a female, Mary Dingham, who spoke on the human factor in industry, which you can imagine was quite controversial at that time. Many South Australian premiers have been guest speakers, like Sir Richard Butler, Sir Thomas Playford, and recently the Honourable Peter Malinauskas. Amy Johnson was a speaker, and her achievements were celebrated through a reception event after returning from flying solo from England to Australia. Sir Douglas Mawson addressed the club on the Antarctic, and Louisa O'Donoghue addressed the club on reconciliation. And astronaut Dr. Andy Thomas drew a crowd of 600 people when he addressed the club. Rotary Adelaide has also called many iconic locations home, including the South Australian Hotel, Balfour's Cafe, members' workplaces like Holden, the Grosvenor, and since 1984, our home has been this famous Adelaide Oval. In our 100-year history, we've sponsored 13 new Rotary clubs, an Interact Club and Rotaract Club, from Mount Gambier to Victor Harbour, Port Adelaide to Port Lincoln. Many notable South Australians have been members of our club, such as our inaugural female member, Justice Keremy Murray. Governors of South Australia have been honorary members. Sir Donald Bradman was a member for 53 years. Botanist Noel Lothian, famously known for expanding our national parks. And Barbara Hardy was an influential scientist and environmental leader. In fact, more than 50 of our members have been recognised with Australian honours for their contribution to society, including our current member, Dr. Monica Oliphant, for her services to renewable energy. 10 of our members have stepped up to be district governors, soon to be 11. When the need arises, we've always been willing to lend a hand. During the war years, our club ran public appeals to support Malta after suffering from air raids, sent sheepskins to Russia during winter, collected unwanted suits to send to Britain along with 7,000 food parcels, Members ran the RAAF canteen, supported servicemen's families, and managed the Cheer Up Hut for soldiers about to go to war. In 1956, we were at the front line evacuating river flood victims. We've raised funds for Cyclone Tracy, for Camp Quality through Fertilla for Kids, for Operation Flinders through the Trailblazer by the Sea. We sent a team to KI to rebuild fences for farmers after bushfires. We have supported children from developing countries receive surgical procedures in Australia through ROMAC, and we've donated nearly $500,000 to the Australian Rotary Health and over $560,000 to the Australian Rotary Foundation. In COVID times, we have thanked frontline workers through gifts of nurture kits. We continue to regularly support Carlton Station, Hutt Street, Australian Migrant Resource Centre, and of course the legendary Christmas pageant and World Festival of Magic. Alongside our drive to serve above self is the value we place in fellowship, just like today. Once you become a Rotarian, you gain a worldwide network of trusted friends. With fellowship, we rally around each other to celebrate milestones, like when Jeff Tate shared his recent 100th birthday with us. Or the unwavering support we wrapped around Lisa Dallow after she was involved in the White Island tragedy. And we all know how much that support meant to her. The club also has a long history of being the catalyst for new initiatives that go on to serve the South Australian community. And as the Governor mentioned, we sponsored the Crippled Children's Association, now Novita, that's gone on to be one of the largest disability service organisations. We built the Rotary Wing that operated as part of the Julia Farr Centre. COTA SA can trace its roots to Rotary Adelaide because we underwrote the administrative expenses in its first 5 years. The Adelaide Festival of Arts has moved on to be now Mad March, that has established an expenditure of over $80 million. The club supported the Road Safety Centre at Theberton, that's gone on to educate over 500,000 children. And the Medic Alert is now one of the most trusted medic ID systems in Australia. In 1987, we launched the Rotary International End Polio campaign within the club, raising $37,000 US, equivalent to over 160,000 Australian dollars today. 36 years later, through a worldwide Rotary effort, polio remains endemic in only 2 countries. Over the years, we've planted more than 24,000 trees to green our city and to help rebuild habitats for wildlife. Through great vision, some 55 years ago, our members formed what is now called the Charitable Trust Foundation that supports our club's charitable works, and you'll hear a little bit more about that later. We also have a very strong commitment to support our young people, our future, and we're always here to lend a hand to our Adelaide Uni Rotaract Club, the Theberton Senior College Rotaract Club for Global Peace, and the Adelaide High Interact Club. We have been a leading partner for the Science and Engineering Challenge for over 20 years and sponsor the National Youth Science Forum, helping young people find their STEM career. And we support those who need a chance to sail away on the One and All or to study through the Charles Bright Scholarship. We help emerging leaders grow through RILA and RIPEN, and for others to experience a new culture through the Rotary Youth Exchange. But our most prized opportunity to serve comes when we work alongside other clubs and local partners. In 2000, we worked with 93 Rotary clubs to create the Tunnel Walk event for the opening of the Hyson Tunnel, and we raised $130,000 for the Women's and Children's Hospital. In rural Sri Lanka, we partnered with the Rotary Club of Kandy to provide villages clean water. In southern Philippines, we partnered with 3 Rotary clubs, from Prospect to Davao, to improve the quality of health and education for women and children. In our 100th year, we are proud to work alongside Rotary clubs in South Australia to launch 2 centenary projects. Together, we are distributing 100 peace bowls in recognition of 100 years of Rotary. And currently, with the support of 46 clubs, we have 96 peace bowls installed and inquiries for over 110 more. For our second legacy project, Building Chronic Disease Prevention within Aboriginal Communities, we will work alongside our project partners Rotary District 951A, Australian Rotary Health, SAMRI and the University of Adelaide. Together, we will sponsor 2 Aboriginal health scholars to undertake PhD and work within Aboriginal communities to develop a culturally appropriate model to help prevent and manage chronic disease. All of this would not be possible without vision, leadership, new ideas, and most importantly, fellow Rotarians, locally and around the world, that step up when asked, serve above self, lend a hand, and offer trusted friendship. That's why I'm proud to follow in the footsteps that those that have gone before me, proud to be a Rotarian right now in South Australia, making a difference together, one step at a time. And for all of this, I say thank you.